Hello artists, and welcome to my new studio space, which is still very much in progress. I will do a studio tour once I've kind of finished setting up everything. But as you can see, I have a new kind of lighting setup here. I'm trying to become a more legitimate YouTuber who acts like they know what they are doing with their lighting and setup and whatnot. So the light here is coming from a light box, and I have a massive reflector next to me, which I'm still not great at positioning, so excuse if the lighting looks a little bit strange. So let's get straight to the point. First year of fine art, I would say that this was my worst year because the studios were a ghost town. But if I had these 5 things, some of them I kind of did myself, which is why I'm giving them as advice. And on the other hand, these are things that I wish I did more in first year, because it would have made, I think, my first year far more productive and I would have got a lot more out of it. So this is one thing for me that was actually quite easy for me to do. I always knew I was an oil painter. I wanted to master oil paint. So when it came to a medium, I stuck with oil paint, and that's what I did in the first year, which actually really helped me in the later years because I knew I just wanted to paint and I didn't want to go exploring all these crazy other things, because the fact that I invested my time into oil painting meant that I got better and better and better as time went on. So my first basically piece of advice or tip is experiment and explore, but as soon as you can, try to really stick with one medium and really invest some time into one medium, because it takes time to learn a material. It takes time to practically get used to it, have that muscle memory or whatever you want it, the kind of the fine motor control when it comes to whether it be painting, sculpture, even working with materials within those kind of pathways, I guess you would call them. But yeah, so stick to one medium as soon as you can. First year, yes, is for experimenting, but my advice, stick to one thing as soon as you can. As soon as something really lights a spark inside of you, stick to it, learn it, go through the difficult lumps and bumps you're gonna, go through with anything. Once you've invested some time into that medium, you will start to feel more confident and you will be able to communicate more of your ideas in that specific medium. The second tip is a bit of a common sense one, but you'd be surprised how many people do not do it. And that is, go to the bloody front row when it comes to your lectures. Just go on time when it comes to your lectures and record it. Whether you just click record on the basic microphone of your computer or your phone. Like, everyone has a phone with a record function. Just record, because when it comes to write-ups, essays, or whatever kind of assessment your uni has towards the end of your units, they usually have some kind of write-ups when it comes to compulsory lectures. So at the very least, you should be recording the compulsory lectures, because trust me, you are going to forget about them. Your notes are not going to be enough to remind you about what the hell they were speaking about. So to go back to a recording and be like, okay, I can reference this. I can actually write that 200, 300, 400 words that my uni is requiring me to, submit for assessment. And you won't have to go begging to your other classmates who did have their kind of stuff together when it came to lectures and getting there on time and recording. You don't have to go and beg them for notes or recordings. So yeah, just turn up on time and record your lectures. Next is time to get a little bit on the creepy side of things, and that is stalk your tutors, all of them. Not physically around the school or on the way home or anything like that. Don't be that kind of creepy. I'm talking about find everything you can about their practice online, whether that be their websites, their artist websites, their social medias, in terms of artists not dwelling or kind of diving into their personal lives, but find their art and what they do in terms of their practice. Gather as much information as you can, because what you want to do is then find the tutors who are closest to your practice. Say, for example, I'm an oil painter. If there are 2 or 3 tutors whose oil painting are like, wow, that tutor can really paint, I could learn a lot from them. What the universities tend to do is they allow you to book tutorials. Even with tutors who are not your personal tutors, you can book them outside in kind of set times, or even to drop them an email asking them for advice and showing interest in their practice and saying, look, I'd love you to teach me this, I'd love you to teach me that. Could you give me advice on some mediums, some paintbrushes, palette, whatever it is. With my first year tutor, I kind of looked up his work and I was like, this guy can really paint, and I'm a first year and I suck and I can't paint and I want to learn how to paint, or I want my painting to improve. So literally in my first tutorial with him, I just said, look, my first year ideas, they're not going to matter. I'm not going to care about them in 6 months. Forget about my ideas. Just tell me how I can improve, practically speaking, technique wise. What am I doing wrong? How do I improve my painting? And he gave me advice, practically speaking, on painting almost. That was basically the focus of every tutorial. And I think in terms of painting, developing technique, and what I got out of my uni first year was probably the best for me because of that specific tutor, was just focused on the practical side of painting. So whatever your practice is, do that. Just look at the tutors. Okay, who can teach me what? Go and talk to them. Drop them an email, book a tutorial. It's that simple. Now, this is an interesting one that I didn't do, which I kind of wish I thought of, but sometimes you actually, I went to University of the Arts London, so they had the opportunity to invite some quite big artists sometimes. So there was a Grayson Perry lecture, I remember, while I was at university. But there are many other visiting artists, and obviously when it comes to building a network and kind of getting to know artists, or even having someone in some kind of place of authority notice you even a tiny bit, can be of huge benefit when it comes to, I guess, developing as an artist and being in that university scene. Like, how do I get noticed? Here's one way to start practicing. When a visiting artist comes, or some kind of person relevant in the art world who maybe you admire or appreciate, do a small print, do a small artwork, and then usually after the lecture, there is time for you to just kind of pop up to them and say, thank you for the lecture, and just give them this small thing, this piece of artwork that you've done as a gift. And you could even leave social media or contact on the back, just as a kind of standard thing where, you're exposing them to your practice, your artwork. They might appreciate kind of the small gift as a kind of thank you thing. And obviously don't give them a spiky metal sculpture that weighs 30 kilograms, because that's kind of awkward. Obviously you want to think about what you're giving them, keep it small and sweet, as you might say. But I think that if I had done this, maybe, just through that, some kind of recognition or an opportunity might pop up for you by doing that, because I don't think I noticed anyone doing that in my year, but maybe they did. So this is one thing that I wish I did do. Now, the final one is going to be difficult for other introverts like myself, but that is really try and get noticed / try to talk a little bit to the second and third years when you're in the first year, because they tend to be a bit more comfortable in their skin when it comes to the studios. And there's a lot of valuable things that they can teach you, whether it be they're better painters or whatever they're doing is kind of, they've got some more experience under their belt. There's always these superstars probably on every floor. When you feel like you look at their work, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get nowhere in life. But a lot of these people, creative people, or the fine art atmosphere, for the most part, I've found to be kind of very accepting and friendly. So hanging around second and third year studios and just kind of even just looking a bit curious, usually the second and third years even start talking to you and be like, oh, hi, blah, blah, blah. And you can get some valuable tips, techniques. They'll teach you even how to, put a stretch together if you're in like a stretching room or whatever. And yeah, they're basically friendly people, but someone like me just wants to stay in their studio space and hide from everyone. Yeah, this is me. YouTubers force me to speak on the internet, so I don't even know where I'm going with this. Basically, just talk to people who are better than you at art. I think it's getting too late. It's almost 9 p.m. That's my bedtime since I got back from China. I've been super disciplined with sleep. So I'm just mumbling now. And hope you like my new lighting setup, and look forward to my new tour, my studio tour. On Sunday, I would also have an extra concise video on kind of when it comes to choosing a fine art degree, but maybe if you're watching this, you're already in a fine art degree, so that wouldn't be relevant to you. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. Hope this video has been somewhat helpful to first year fine art students, or if you are thinking of doing a fine art degree, well done to you, because you are ahead of the game watching videos like my own. Not bigging myself up or anything. I'm kind of nowhere in life so far. But as usual, DM me on Instagram, leave a comment if you have any more questions. And with that, here is my awkward goodbye.